Welcome back, NW Sportscast Seahawks post-game show. I'm in the jersey. Drew's at the Seahawks stadium somehow. Let us know down in the comments, how did he get there? And this was a stinker. This was not good. The Seahawks were competitive, but in the end, the results are what matters. So a lot of fans are gonna go home from Dallas disappointed, because the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football, in front of the national television audience, allowed 14 unanswered points in the fourth quarter and lost this game 41-35. Drew, what are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I thought the game went pretty well. So, in my opinion, this was a close loss to a good football team. I thought that the offense played well. Geno Smith put up 334 and three touchdowns. DK Metcalf finally got going. I thought Zach Charbonnet didn't have a bad game. Abraham Lucas clearly made a difference. On the defensive side of the ball, though, one of my keys to the game was stopping CeeDee Lamb. And I said all three keys needed to happen. DK Metcalf needed to get going. That happened. I thought Zach Charbonnet and the running game needed to get him the ball more. That sort of happened. 19 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. And DJ Dallas also got a little bit going there. And then I thought that we had to limit CeeDee Lamb, and that was the thing that really cost us down the stretch. He had a really good game.
Well, he had a really good fourth quarter. He didn't actually have a very good game before that, though.
12 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown. And that, the arguable icing on the cake with that run play for first down late in the fourth quarter, I would say it's a pretty good game. But I'm going to get off
No, that's what you're saying. The fourth quarter, he was excellent. But
yeah. So, but that was when you needed to stop him, and you didn't. So,
the first half, we were limiting CeeDee Lamb very well. But, in the second half, and pretty much, honestly, the entire game, the Seahawks defense basically forgot they were playing a football game today. It was pretty pathetic, honestly, watching them fail to tackle, watching them commit 8 penalties. Dallas got like 100 yards, I think more than 100 yards via penalties. So did we, by the way. So both teams, it was just so sloppy. Wow. Talk about, okay, here, I'll say this. Drew, I think we both agree with this. The flag happy referees, I'm just like, we probably would have missed out on a touchdown, maybe even multiple touchdowns, but so would they. And I think that at some point, like, the NFL just has to let them play. Like, there were so many flags called on both of us. There was like, really? That's PI? Like, really?
yeah.
Like, Bobby Wagner got called for a really, like, borderline, not really PI call. And then late in the game, in the fourth quarter, when we were tied, this happened. I might be wrong, but Reek Woolen got called for a PI where he literally like barely touched
the guy's
his shoulder. Like,
yeah,
I was like, what is this? What are we doing here? Like, I don't know. I think refs were very, very flag happy tonight. And, Cowboys fans are going to say they were biased against them. Seahawks fans are going to say they were biased against us because later in the game, the calls skewed more towards us. But early in the game, 2 of our 3 first touchdowns were basically we were in the red zone because of PI calls. So I think that it's hard to blame the refs for this one, but I just think that I wish that they would let the game be played. I wish 300. There was almost 300 penalty yards. That's insane.
Yeah. They were going for an NFL record there. That was crazy. 310 was the record. Yeah, this was a crazy stat line when you look at the box score. Obviously, it was Seahawks' first true shootout, 35-41. And then you look at
the Lions was a shootout.
Yeah, that's true. The Lions. But then you got zero punts for both teams, which
that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Which we should have punted. We should have punted twice, and I'll get to that in a sec. But
256 yards, time possession. We were out time of possession by 23-33 for us, 36-27 for the Cowboys. That's a big deal. First downs, the Cowboys had 10 more first downs. We were 0 for 3 on fourth down, which, it's hard to win and that's pretty much 3 turnovers right there. So, yeah, this all in all, there was a lot of opportunities to win this game, and we didn't come away with it. I thought we played pretty well. However, Levi, you're actually taking this quite well. when full transparency, guys, I was just on the phone with Levi right before this, and Levi's a very emotional fan, and he was definitely hot on the phone, saying some stuff we probably can't say on here. And
If you want to hear,
you
if
seem to
you
be
want to
kind of level
see,
headed. So I don't know if your
want to see
mindset's
my
changed or
if
if
you
you're
want to see
waiting
my
to
reaction, I
if you're
have
waiting to say your monologue till right now. But
I
Levi,
have
I'm gonna give you your chance to kind of go off on your little tangent here. I mean, the first
uh,
thing he said, guys, the first thing he told me, he called me and he pretty much was like, is it time to bleep and fire Pete Carroll, blah blah blah. So Levi, why is it time to bleep and fire Pete Carroll, and why were what is your actual fan reaction to this game?
well, if you want to see me in the moment, Levi Coover in his element, go watch my instant reaction. You'll get to see exactly what was going through my head. I actually have two instant reactions, but one of them I decided I'm not going to post it. The second instant reaction was at the very end of the game. I instantly react to the first turnover on fourth down, and then we got the ball back, which I didn't think we were going to.
Me neither. That was so dumb of them to throw the
Oh
ball.
yeah, the Cowboys. To be fair, the Cowboys coaching staff also made some really bad decisions. But this is what I'm going to say. We're on the podcast. I got to be a little bit level-headed, okay? This is the first game in his career that Pete Carroll has scored 35 points and also lost. That's a pretty big indictment on the fact that his coaching method is he's kind of losing it. I think he's losing his touch. Okay, what does Pete Carroll always say? Defense, run game. Defense, run game. Defense, run game. Well, for the past 2 seasons, we haven't really been a defense run game team. Last year, we started more rookies on defense than any other team in the NFL. So you would think that those rookies would get better this year, right? Wrong. Our
I
defense
would
is
think.
much, much worse this year than it was last year. And we also have Jamal Adams, who's back, Devon Witherspoon, first round pick, best cornerback in the league, and Leonard Williams we traded for, and we still have gotten work, and Bobby Wagner, and we
Yeah,
still got
I
worse
was
on
about to
defense.
say the player on the back of your jersey
Like,
there, Levi, came
we
back.
added, yes, the player in the back who Bobby didn't have a great game today, but he didn't have as bad of a game as some people would have you think. But I don't get it. Like, you get 4 good new players to your defense and a bunch of rookies from last year who are now in their second season, and all of a sudden our defense can't get a stop. Our defense can't get off the field. Um, and like
Yeah,
the Ravens game, they allowed 38, and you say, well, I mean, that's kind of the offense's fault because the offense went 3-and-out every drive that game. Okay, well, this game was not the offense's fault. The offense was putting together long drives. Even when we had a 60-yard touchdown pass, then the next drive we had another 60-yard touchdown pass, but then they had to call it as an incomplete, and then they had to do a timeout before the next play. So like our all of our drives felt pretty long. Like our defense had time to rest. Our defense had time to
well, I mean,
launch,
only 23 minutes of
and
possession for
and
the
they come
offense. So
out.
I would disagree with you there, Levi.
Well, 23 minutes. Okay, well, 23 minutes is still pretty solid. But this is the thing.
37 for the Cowboys.
This is a team that's meant to be built on defense, and instead, our defense is consistently losing us football games right now. But here's my other point that I want to make. What is Pete Carroll's motto? This is what my mom always used to tell me when I was younger. And my dad and I, when the Seahawks were losing, we had this thing where we would leave the room and go listen to it on the radio because we were that superstitious. And I think it worked. Honestly, I think it worked. Obviously, that's just me. But what would my mom always tell us that Pete Carroll always would say? Do you know the phrase, Drew?
Do you win in the first quarter?
No.
Do you win in the second quarter?
No.
Do you win in the third quarter?
No.
Do you win in the fourth quarter?
Yes, you do, but not the Seahawks. Let me read you the stats, Drew. It's not looking very good. Full season, fourth quarter, Seattle, how many points have we scored? 62. How many points have we allowed? 92. But wait, you say, how about the past 5 games? How about the past 5 games when we have gone 1-4 in the past 5 games? What is it then? Seahawks, fourth quarter in the past 5 games, 20 points. Opponents in the past 5 games, fourth quarter. Guess how many points we've allowed in the past 5 games?
I don't know.
52.
Jeez.
52. We are allowing our opponents to do exactly what we say we're not going to let them do. We are playing well. In the first quarter, we outscore opponents 71-57. In the past 5 games, we are outscoring opponents in the first quarter. In the second quarter, we are getting destroyed 65-95. In the third quarter, we're winning 60-46. But in the fourth quarter, we're blowing it. We are blowing it in the fourth quarter. We blew it against the Rams in the fourth quarter. We also blew it against the Bengals in the fourth quarter. Ravens and 49ers really didn't get to blow it because they just blew us out. But when you look at it, we're 6-6, and 3 of our 6 losses probably should be wins. Like, just looking at it, like, I think we outplayed the Cowboys for the majority of the game. Do you disagree?
Yeah, I do.
You disagree. I think we outplayed them for the majority of the game, honestly.
I think it was pretty even. The 37 minutes to 23 doesn't make me think we outplayed them.
That's true.
I know DK had, a big touchdown, and one of our scoring drives was with 1 minute and 30 seconds left at the end of the first half, which we'll get to. That was really impressive. And I think Shane Waldron actually had a really good game. I think this should save his job for at least a few more weeks. But
unfortunately,
Levi's still not a fan. But no, I think this game was back and forth, and both teams could have won, and both teams tried to give away the game, and both teams eventually, the Cowboys ended up getting it done. There's a few key moments in the game which really shifted the momentum. One is obviously the Tyler Lockett dropped pass that would have, on third down, that would have set up a field goal, go up by 8, 38-30. Instead, he drops that, and the entire game shifts. Another one is obviously fourth down at the end of the game there. We're driving, one good play, out route to Tyler Lockett, then we give to Noah Fant down the middle. And then,
then Noah Fant dropped a pass on 3rd and 2 that could have kept the drive.
Well, that was a terrible throw by Geno Smith, actually. But
okay, it was a terrible throw, but Fant should have caught that. Let's be honest. Fant should have caught that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a 2-yard reception inbounds. So again, on second down.
But
so
it keeps the drive going. Instead, you end
on second down, we had 2 other chances, and on 4th and 2, game on the line, last play of the game. The game plan is what, to throw DJ Dallas to block Micah Parsons? I don't really understand that.
Our 4th down play call,
and then on top of that, DJ Dallas, he kind of blocks him, but then he goes up to receive a pass. I don't really know what the game plan is there. But just Tyler Lockett was the one guy I think that could have played a lot better this game, and which is kind of disheartening to say because Tyler Lockett is such a consistent,
our MVP before this.
He's a cornerstone, consistent player, very level-headed. He's good for about 70, 80 yards a game. It feels like he's a really solid wide receiver, but you got to make that catch. And then on top of it, he gets beat on an out route, and the Cowboys defender, I'm blanking, Bland or whatever, gets the interception on the out route there. He jumps Tyler Lockett's ball, and that's huge too. So Tyler Lockett, I think, could have had a better game. So again, but back to my point, there was a lot of key moments in the game where the Seahawks had a chance to win, and they couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, and we had so many chances to win. Drew, I want to read you what I tweeted 10 minutes left in the game. Seattle has the ball. This is what I said at the beginning of the drive.
What was the score there?
We're winning. At this point, we have the ball, and we have a 35-10 lead. Dallas just kicked a field goal. I said
35-30.
35-30, yeah. I say if Seattle scores a touchdown here, they can potentially put it away. If they put together a long field goal drive, they give themselves a really good chance. Key at this point is let the clock run down and don't turn it over. If you have to punt, just pin them as far back as you can. Well, 4th down came up midfield. Yeah. We have a chance to potentially pin them back all the way at their own end zone. I'm not saying that Dallas wouldn't have scored in that scenario. Their offense was rolling all night, but the fact that we instead went for it, which I thought was a very risky decision, and then we gave them the ball back at the 50-yard line, that was devastating. And I wouldn't have done it. I especially if I was going to do it, I wouldn't have done it as a Gino drops back and then hands the ball off play. I would have done it as a let's try the Philadelphia Eagles way and let's just send Gino up the middle. That's probably what we should have done there.
Yeah, okay.
I was not a fan of the like at
So
the
I'm gonna agree
at
with
fourth
you,
and one,
Levi.
and you hand it off behind the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden 4th and 1 turns into 4th and 3.
Yeah, no, okay. The play call I agree with. I don't think that was the right play call. I would have actually rather a quick slant route there or something to DK Metcalf. He was getting open all game long. Um, but the thing I disagree with you about is the right decision was to go for it on fourth down.
I disagree.
I know you disagree, but the second was 4th and 1, 4th and 2, whatever it was, and the ball was at the 45-yard line. I immediately said we should go for it here. And it makes a ton of sense. We can then get into field goal range. We can continue to, the Cowboys offense has been rolling the whole game. What really is an extra 40 yards? And that's if we pin them. If we pin them. Let's say the ball sails into the end zone. That's a 20-yard shift. And those 20 yards, in my opinion, are not worth the possibility to extend the drive and have a field goal. And I know, AI and numbers aren't everything, but if you were watching the game, Amazon did agree with the call. It said 65
Yeah, they
time.
have their probability odds, but
Yeah, so
like the
I'm just
smart football
saying you
decision.
can disagree with it. You can disagree with it. And
I do. I do.
it's fine if you want to disagree with it. I'm just saying where the numbers are. I'm saying what the numbers are saying, and I agree with the call. I don't agree with the play call, but I agree with the decision to go for on fourth down.
Yeah,
Once again,
I
that's
take.
not where the game was lost. I mean, obviously
Yeah, not where the game was lost.
that could
The
have been a
game.
big
Yeah,
that was a big momentum shifter, but we still had a chance with a minute 40, and we were driving. A minute 38, we just threw a 15-yard outright to Tyler Lockett. I thought we would have a legitimate shot to win this.
yeah. It's. I mean, look, Gino. I've been saying this all year. He's not the worst quarterback in the league, but when he's under pressure, he just disappears. And unfortunately, we had great protection all night. I'll get to Abe Lucas in a second because he was incredible today. But when it counted the most, the Cowboys brought the pressure, and
Yeah.
Gino under pressure is not a quarterback who is fun to watch because he doesn't do the Russell Wilson thing where he rolls out of the pocket and extends the play. Um, Gino just kind of stands there and gets scared, and yeah, I mean, I don't want to bang on Gino too much. He had a really good game.
No, he had a
And
good game.
I was very pleased with how he played. I was very pleased with the offense in general. So that's why it's such a bummer
This
that
is about as good
this
as Gino
team
can
got
play.
away. Yeah, yeah. This is probably the second best game he's played all season, besides Detroit, maybe the New York Giants game, and this one.
No, no.
These are the 3 games he's really kind of showed up. He did throw one interception, but all things considered, he threw an interception against the guy who has the most in the NFL.
And that was a lot of like that. Tyler didn't get a good jump on that
Yeah,
right either.
and he targeted for the amount of times that he targeted Bland. Bland was bound to get one eventually, but it's interesting. I think this is kind of a part of and Dan Quinn, obviously the defensive coordinator. I'm starting to think this is just how he coaches cornerbacks. Is he just tells them go for the pick, and if not, you're gonna get burned. Like we've seen so many cornerbacks under Dan Quinn defenses that do this now. Like last year, they had this with what's his name? Diggs, right? He's out for the season this year. But
Trevin
Diggs
Diggs.
was the same. It was the same exact thing as Bland. It was go for the pick or get burned. And in Seattle, when Dan Quinn was a defensive coordinator, it felt like a lot of the same thing with Legion of Boom. It was a lot of picks. Sometimes we got burned, but it's like Dan Quinn, he's got his cornerbacks playing really well as far as like they know how to get a good jump on the football and they know how to get the pick. That being said,
We scored 35 points.
we scored
I
35 points,
so.
and Bland also had 2 really bad PIs. And there was a few more that could have been.
Glenn was getting burned all game. I think we've kind of, beat the dead horse on the game summary. Levi, there's a few key guys that stuck out to me as far as positives go. So those guys are, in my opinion, Geno Smith, Abraham Lucas, DK Metcalf, and JSN. Do you
Yeah,
want to touch
all
on? Do
offensive guys.
you want to touch on those four guys?
Well, I said this for the past 2 weeks. I said Abe Lucas might be the key to unlock this offense. I didn't want to bank on it, and I'm still not gonna say like our offense is fixed because there's still a chance we come out against the Niners next week and just lay a goose egg, especially the momentum killer that it is to lose the way we did. But
You just did that
but
again.
with Gino having better protection, all of a sudden he looks like a pretty competent quarterback, and it reminded me a lot of last season when Abe Lucas was his right tackle, and now Abe Lucas back at right tackle. I mean, he is a really good player. I think he's very underrated, but he's not going to be for long. Like this is a guy who I would extend him in the offseason. I would extend him right now. I think you want to keep this guy on your team. Like this is one thing that the Dallas Cowboys do very well. When they get a good O lineman, they keep him for 10, 15 seasons. And that's why the Dallas Cowboys never have a bad O line. The Green Bay Packers never have a bad O line. The New England Patriots with Brady, they never had a bad O line. This is, and the 49ers right now, they're a little bit banged up this year, but for the most part, the Niners don't usually have a bad O line. This is something the Seahawks should definitely take note in. Like you have a really good young O lineman, extend him. I would.
Yeah, the difference between Abraham Lucas and Stone Forsythe is immense.
It's massive. I mean, Stone Forsythe is hard to watch.
Yeah, like
He's hard to watch.
280. Can't do much. Let's move on to DK Metcalf probably impressed me more, but JSN,
Yeah.
he was getting open all night. He led the team with receptions, 7 for 62 yards. DK Metcalf going into this game only had one touchdown, I believe. He comes away with three in this one game with the hat trick. What do you think happened with DK Metcalf and JSN? And I know Tyler Lockett didn't have a great game, but he had 5 receptions also. So your top three guys all had 5+ receptions, and they all had, DK had 134, JSN 62, and Tyler Lockett 47. So what do you think really happened with these three players? And I guess you can kind of touch on Geno Smith too, because it kind of goes hand in hand.
Well, I think it boils down to Geno had more time to throw. He was not under as much pressure, so he saw the routes a lot better. And it also comes down to, I mean, when you're in a shootout, you're going to throw the ball almost every play. And that's kind of what we were doing there. And they were getting open. They did a really good job getting open. JSN, he was never going to be a bust. Like he was so talented at Ohio State. He's too good to not be a bust. And now he's turning out like this is who he is, and he's going to keep getting better. I think
Exactly who we expected him to be.
I think I think sometime in the future down the road, maybe not next year, but in a few years, he's going to be our wide receiver number one, and DK is going to be the number two guy to him. Like that's just how it's going to be. I'm telling you, JSN is a really good football player. I mean, that catch he made that they said it wasn't a catch, but that was a pretty incredible play.
Yeah, getting tugged back.
Touchdown. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. While he's getting pass interfered at the same time, he still made that catch. And then they brought in the rules analysis. What's his name?
He believed it was a catch. Yeah.
And he says it was a catch. And then the announcers say it was a catch. And then the
on the field was a catch.
Not a catch. It's like, come on. What are we doing here?
We do score.
We scored the next play. Luckily, if we
not the next play. The next play we scored got brought back. Yeah, we scored like 4 times that one play.
If we hadn't have scored on that drive, I would have lost it. That oh my gosh.
Speaking on that drive, what went right there? Because we kind of got in a little bit of a, start the first quarter. Obviously, DK Metcalf went off. Jason Myers had a missed field goal, which was kind of huge when you look at the grand scheme of the game, which we haven't even touched on yet, but teach their own.
Yeah.
Jason Myers, again, I can't get too mad out. He's been really solid this year.
Well, this is 3 games in a row.
Unfortunately, he has missed the game winner, and last week he missed one. But yeah, so what do you think happened in that second quarter to allow us to drive down with not even a minute 30? We had 45 seconds left at our own 35, 3rd and 2, because we were trying to allow Dallas to not have a lot of time because they still had 2 timeouts.
Yeah.
So snap the ball with 5 seconds left on the play clock, about 50 seconds left on 3rd and 2, I believe, and we ended up scoring. What went right? Because
Well,
that could have happened to end the game. That could have
Gino
happened to end the game.
made Gino made probably I don't know if I don't want to say something that turns out to not be true, but that was probably the second best throw he's made this season. Or the not the best throw, the second best play he's made this season. Like under pressure, nowhere to go. And instead of doing what he normally does, which is take a sack or throw it away, he ran away from the pressure
Yeah.
and then just kind of heaved it downfield. And there was Jackson Smith-Njigba in the end zone. And luckily, it was either going to be a touchdown or it was going to be PI. So first and goal at the 1. So either way, it was going to be good. All he had to do was make the throw, and he made it perfectly. I think that was the second best play he's made. The first one, I would probably say, is the game winner against the Detroit Lions. That was a pretty excellent play there. But yeah, that was like, I see that I'm like, yeah, okay, there is potential in Geno Smith. The problem is he's an 11-year vet. I need to see a little more than potential. But
That's a great point.
but yeah, I mean that's how you know like there is something there. There
Yeah.
is something there. And again, like if Abe Lucas isn't playing, then that might have been a sack. But
Sure.
somewhere along the line, somebody got a good block, and Geno, instead of throwing it away, he said to himself, I'm gonna go for the end zone here and just go for glory. And that's exactly what he did.
As great as the O line's been, and you've mentioned it, and I've mentioned it, it's much improved from last week. A lot of credit goes to Abe Lucas there. The last couple drives, it was
It fell apart.
not great at all. Not, I mean,
It's
Dallas
situational. Dallas plays really good situational football.
Dallas sent the house, and we couldn't cover it. And Geno Smith, once again, I mean, again, I can't rip on Geno Smith because I don't know how many quarterbacks would succeed when you have Micah Parsons and two other defenders running at you. I mean, there's really not much to do. I actually thought he did a couple of good times. He got rid of the football. He kind of did like a weird shovel pass that was incomplete to DJ Dallas in order to avoid a sack. He did that a couple times. Kind of throwing the ball away right before he's about to get sacked. So can't rip on Geno too much, but they did kind of fall apart towards the end there. I'm not gonna get mad about that. About that, maybe just got a little tired, worn down. Micah Parsons and those boys were bound to get Geno eventually, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it happened in the last couple drives. The last couple things, Levi, I want to ask you about.
Brought to you.
Zach Charbonnet, 19 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Do you think he has the traits and the skill to be a workhouse back in the NFL?
I think he does. I think he showed that in college. And I think that he's gradually improving. Again, like Seattle does a pretty good job, I think, of they don't throw their rookies into the fire. Same thing with Njigma. It's a slow start. It's let's let him sit behind the veteran guys. Let's let him watch and learn. And then as the season gets in, you're going to start getting worked in more. And then somebody gets injured. Down goes Kenneth Walker. And Charbonnet stepped it up tonight. He had a good game. I don't know if he's ever going to be a top 10 running back in the league. Like I think at full potential, Kenneth Walker is one of the 10 best running backs in the NFL. I don't know if Charbonnet gets to that level, but I definitely think he can be kind of the Zach Moss type of a running back who's like, he's one of the best backups in the league. And if you need him to start, you're not like worried about starting Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the past, like we've been through some pretty brutal running back injury levels. Like there's been games where we're starting week 16 and must-win game, and it's Travis Homer as your lead back. Like the days
Marshawn
of
Lynch.
that, Marshawn Lynch out of retirement. Like the days of that are officially over because we have two guys now who are actual dudes at that position.
Yeah. Do you think Zach Charbonnet and K9 could be kind of a 1A, 1B? Or do you think it's still K9's backfield and Zach Charbonnet will be the two back?
I think K9 would be the first down back, and I think K9 would be the you need 2 yards, give it to K9 kind of deal where if third and short, first and goal kind of situation at the goal line, that's gonna be K9. But I think Charbonnet is gonna be your second down back. He's gonna be the guy you can well, DJ Dallas we see do this a little bit too, but I think Charbonnet can really work into the screen game. I think he can work into the shuffle pass game. So yeah, I definitely think he's gonna continue being pretty significant role here.
So if you had to give a split on it, how many carries
Um,
would you like to see K9 and Zach Charbonnet proportionally to get? See, I would say probably I would
I feel
give
like
K9
60-40.
I would give K9 like 15, 20 carries a game, and I'd give Zach Charbonnet probably 5 to 10.
Yeah, I think 15-10 would be a solid ratio, but 16-8 would be a solid ratio, somewhere in that range. The
Yeah.
problem is we actually have to commit to giving the ball to
I,
K9, which
I
we
thought we did better today, 19 carries compared to a week ago where it
yeah.
was single digits, I believe.
Yeah, no, we definitely stuck to our guns on the run game up until the fourth quarter when we kind of forgot about it.
Don't quote me on that. Okay, no, we gave the ball 14 times to Zach Charbonnet against the Niners, but still, it felt like we were trying to get him a lot more involved. We also gave it to DJ and and Geno Smith. He cleared it out and ran for his own touchdown, which was good to see.
Yeah,
I want Geno Smith to do that more often. I
yeah.
think that he is,
There's a lot of times when he has
yeah,
opportunity to run like that.
and he has a lot of the Russell Wilson characteristic in him, and I think you kind of see that him sitting behind Russ all those years. That when they are extending the play, their first mindset, unlike Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen, maybe is not to run the football, but is to kind of extend the play as long as possible, hang around the line of scrimmage, and then throw to an open receiver. But sometimes if you see 6, 7 yards in front of you, you take it. Like I don't know why you wouldn't. Geno Smith escapes out of the pocket. He has 10 yards of green grass in front of him. Okay, DK Metcalf could come open. He could wait for DK Metcalf to come open, but then he doesn't. And then Geno Smith gets a couple of yards or gets sacked or whatever. I would rather him just rush for his 8 yards, slide down, and keep it moving. I would like to see that more from
Yeah,
Geno Smith because this is not a Tom Brady, like this guy is not unathletic and
no, no, no.
slow. Geno
He
Smith has legs and he should use them more often. He shows that by extending plays. A guy we haven't talked about either on the other
he
side of the
should.
ball, Dak Prescott,
You know who Gino should watch? He should
who,
watch the Matthew Stafford tape because that's something that Stafford does
yeah,
really well, and
yeah.
he does it really well against us every
And I
time.
would say athletic wise, they're pretty similar
Pretty
comparison.
similar guys. It's not Matthew Stafford's not running all over the field, but when he sees an open lane, he takes it,
And
and that's
Aaron Rodgers
what
kind of does that too.
I mean, he did not really anymore, but yeah,
Yeah, Aaron, yeah. But anyways, on the other side of the ball, Dak Prescott again showed why he is in
I
MVP
think I think he's the MVP. Honestly, after tonight, I think he might. I think
yards, three
him or Jalen.
touchdowns. He
He's
could have had more
Dak's having a
yards.
really good season.
A very good season. That play, Darrow Taylor had him wrapped up.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, yeah. I
it
mean,
seemed
Taylor should have tackled him. I think that's
oh
more on Daryl Taylor being
well, yes, yes, but
but it was a good play.
try
That
you
yeah,
try shedding a 250-pound defensive end and just kind
yeah.
of I mean, Derek Taylor was like, what happened? Like,
I
how?
don't know how he missed that.
I mean, I
Like
agree.
it didn't
It was
really
bad.
change the
It was
game.
bad. It was bad by Daryl
Luckily
Taylor.
that didn't cost us anything because we got the third down stop on the next play. So they were already
Yeah.
in field goal range at that point.
Yes, but that was, I think he kind of expected Dak Prescott's knees to buckle like most quarterbacks there, and Dax didn't.
Oh
He
yeah,
kind
he
of shedded him
somehow
off,
he
and
stepped right out of it and then got a 15-yard pass.
yeah, that was because that freaking
Yeah,
Tariq
that was
Woolen,
Mahomesian.
Tariq,
That was Mahomesian.
Tariq Woolen stopped playing defense on that play because he thought he had him
Oh
dead to
yeah.
rights, which again,
Again, just tells you
Woolen,
undisciplined,
he's a
undisciplined
sophomore.
earnings.
He's a second year player, still a lot to learn, and I'm sure he will go to the tape and see that he needs to continue playing the game until the whistle is blown. Classic sports, coaching moment, play until the whistle is dead. And he learned that there. Yeah, Dak Prescott had a really good game and he showed it 41 points. Can't get, the defense didn't play great, but this was a Cowboys team that's rolling, and they continue to roll against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are now 6-6, so the Cowboys still haven't beaten a team with a
Yeah.
winning record.
Yeah,
But
congratulations, Dallas. You beat a 6-6 mediocre losing streak
6-6,
Seahawks
which is
team.
about to turn into 6-8.
Yeah,
This is a really long video, actually. I didn't expect this to go this long, but I do want to touch on one last thing. Levi, is there a chance the Seahawks make the playoffs now? I think yes. I think the Niners and the Eagles are probably losses,
I know. I
but
think
I
I
see
think
us.
we're broken. I think if you can't win tonight, I don't know where the wins are gonna come. Maybe I think we can beat Tennessee and Arizona. That's
I
about it.
say we could, but I see us beating Tennessee, the Steelers, and the Cardinals,
I
and
don't
then
I
we
don't
end 9-8,
see it.
and 9-8 might get
Nine
you
and
in,
eight
Levi.
feels really ambitious to me. The way we're playing. I mean, it's just every game either the offense doesn't play or the defense doesn't play.
I disagree.
Every game. We
I
haven't
agree with that, but I think if we play like we did today, we will beat the Steelers, the Cardinals, and the Titans.
probably
That's
no,
just
because
me.
if we play like we did today, the Cardinals will beat us in a shootout.
Oh,
We play
please.
like we did today, but then I guarantee we can't score this many points against Pittsburgh's defense. So let me ask you just point straight up. Would you keep Pete Carroll next season?
Yes.
Would you keep
Yes.
Shane Waldron next season?
My answer would have been a lot more clear if the Seahawks
Did
lost
435? Yeah.
23-13, like I thought they would. My prediction was 23-13. That was what happened tonight. I would say yes. I would say no. He shouldn't be brought back. I'm gonna have to finish out the season before I make
Okay. Would
a
you keep
prediction on
Clint
that.
Hurtt after tonight?
I thought the defense played pretty well most of the year. I this
I
game
mean,
obviously.
we played really well when we were up against the hopeless Giants and Panthers, but we really lost our defensive.
I mean, I would take Clint Hurtt over the Ken Norton era for
I'd
sure.
take him over Ken Norton, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd take him. And then finally, is Gino your starting quarterback week 1 next season?
Is this what I want, or is this what I
No,
think is gonna happen?
you're the GM. You're the GM. So
No, he's
you're
not.
keeping
He's
both
not.
coordinators and you're keeping the coach, but you're benching Geno Smith.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we
For me,
draft a quarterback.
for me, I would I would probably get rid of all 4. I'm just gonna say that. This is the takeaway. This is my number 1 takeaway, and we're gonna close this video out with my number 1 takeaway. We lost this game the same reason why we have lost probably 4 of the 6 games this year, which is that the Seahawks are just not a very disciplined football team. We make bad key mistakes at key times of the game.
Yeah.
When under pressure, Gino loses it. When the defense needs to get a stop on 3rd down, they either commit a penalty or they just blow coverage. We give up so many 3rd and longs that we just shouldn't give up. We continue to be one of the most penalized teams in the NFL, and our defense continues to get worse, especially in key spots. Again, I'm saying this. The Dallas Cowboys scored 4 touchdowns and I think 4 field goals. It was not pretty. They didn't punt a single time. They literally did not punt a single time, and you didn't get any turnovers. So when you're not getting turnovers and you're not forcing punts, what are you really even doing? And when you have an undisciplined team, honestly, I do think that blame goes in the head coaches. The Dallas Cowboys, guess who their offensive coordinator is? Oh, it's our old offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer. Their defensive coordinator. Oh, it's our old defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. Well,
Which probably didn't help this game.
our old coaches are having a drink tonight and celebrating that they just beat Pete Carroll and took him down. And I just think that this team had so much potential. The players are continuing to put up good numbers, play really well in the games, and yet we're not winning. The wins are not coming, and I don't think there's wins in the future that are coming, at least not for the next 2 weeks, but we'll see about that. We do have